Hello, all of you totally incredible internet people. Hope you all had an amazing 2024. As we bring this year to an end, I thought I'd give a very quick wrap up on the year, the vehicles that we have around here, and sort of like a little bit of a wrap up of the year in general. So let's just get into it real quick. Starting with the vehicle that you see the least on this channel, but you see probably a lot in the background, is my little Honda CRF 250 dirt bike. This thing is fully registered and I pretty much never ride it. It's been ridden twice this year and I haven't touched it as far as maintenance or anything goes. Pumped up the tires a couple of times and I think I put fuel in it once and that's it. Moving on to the HZ. This car is my absolute pride and joy. This thing is the king of the fleet of the cars that we've got. This year saw us doing a whole bunch of maintenance on this car as far as like service and maintenance items go, as well as fixing a couple of little niggly things. We road tripped the thing to Melbourne and back to do a friend's wedding and everything went really well in that regard. But also this thing doesn't get driven a heck of a lot. It gets taken to the odd car show or cruising on every now and then. But on average, I probably drive it once every couple of months. So not a heck of a lot, but it does give me such a feeling of euphoria whenever I drive it and brings me a lot of joy. As far as Des goes, he's as reliable as always. Also doesn't get driven a heck of a lot. It tows the race car to Melbourne every so often and it'll go out into the bush to help people out that have broken down out there. But yeah, this thing doesn't get driven a heck of a lot. The only changes that have happened to this car this year, except for giving it a service, was I've actually taken the platform roof off, sold that to a friend of mine who recently bought a Fortuner as well. I used it 2 or 3 times when I first put it on and hadn't used it since, and it sort of acted as a bit of a wind sail when I drive and was giving me crappy fuel economy. Well, not crappy, but it was costing me sort of about a litre per 100. He made me an offer on it, so I thought, why not? So we took the roof rack off and then we've just bolted the light bar that was on the roof rack to the factory roof rails. Besides from that, that's it. My trusty, faithful work wagon. This is the thing that I daily and that I drive the most, hands down, out of all the cars that I've got. It's parked off to the side, sort of weird at the moment because I just had to move some cars around and I am about to head off to do a couple of jobs on site today. So that's why it's sort of sitting here. This year, sort of giving the thing a service. We did fit a set of pacemaker extractors to it, which there is a video online for that on YouTube. And that's about it. It's just such a solid, reliable car, this thing, which I absolutely love. I've had this thing for a long time and I do enjoy it. My supercharged V6 WH Statesman that I introduced you guys to a couple of months ago. So this was actually my daily for close to 6 months. I was driving this thing around. We did a whole bunch of work to this thing to fix it up. And it was a really, really good car to drive. So yeah, as I mentioned, factory supercharged V6. However, now, as some of you may be upset about, it is now Ecotec powered. The supercharged V6 has been pulled out of it. The reason why is a very, very good friend of mine has come into a bit of grief into his life and he needs a car. So I made him a deal to sell him this thing pretty cheap. I am still going to see the car a fair bit, but the price that I sold it to him for, I couldn't let it go with the Super 6 in it. And I had a low kilometer Ecotec spare. So I ended up putting that thing in it. I didn't bother doing a video on it because you've seen me do L67 to Eco and Eco to L67 swaps in previous videos. So that's that. He's actually picking this thing up next week. As far as the motor that came out of it goes, it's been sitting on the floor down here for the last couple of months until we figure out a plan what to do with this. I'm leaning towards probably just keeping this engine as a spare for the drift car. And speaking of the drift car, it is still here out the back. This car I absolutely love. For such a nugget, this thing brings me so much joy. 2024 saw us do 6 drift events, or was it 5? I think 5 drift events in this car. Every single drift event, the car hasn't had any issues with the exception of Drift X, which was the last event we took this thing to, where it fried a DFI module underneath the coils and it lost spark. That is now fixed. And I have done some modifications and improvements to the interior of this car, which I've done a video on, and I don't know if I've released that yet or not. So whatever. You may see this video first, or you may have seen that one first, but I absolutely love this car. 2025 will see us doing more events in this car. and got no intention on moving this thing on. It just brings us so much fun and joy, and we absolutely love it. So that's basically it, guys. That's our 2024 in a nutshell as far as the vehicles that we've got here are concerned. We hope that your year was really productive and that lots of good stuff came your way, and we really hope that 2025 is an even better year. So until we see you in the next video, and until we see you again next year, be good to yourselves and each other. Have an amazing New Year's. Take care, and we'll see you soon.